You are now listening to FNB Radio.
And welcome to F&B Radio. My name is Lindsay Collins, and I am your host. You hear the sleigh bells. You know what that means. It's the holiday season. Some people hate that, but I am determined to turn it around because last episode, I feel like a lot of you reached out and were so nice to check on me, but it's a reminder of two things. The first thing is that you guys are nice and that you didn't genuinely do seem to care about me and my well-being. And the second thing is I don't really remember the shows like I think I do. Like I get up there and I'm like, oh yeah, I said a couple of funny things. And then Jeremy would be like, wow, you okay? It's like, I got a lot of those in the nicest way. Because I'd rather get those than just nothing, than people just, passing it by and being like, yeah, she sounds a little off, but that's fine. But it was really interesting because I just am so aware of how much I black out on these episodes, not just the ones where things are a little bit tough, just in general. I only really remember the highlights. I'm like, oh yeah, there's a couple jokes in there and a couple of things that may have, led someone to believe that I was in danger of doing self-harm, which I'm not and never said I was. But I think that seems to be how you guys took it. But I'm good. No, for real. I'm good. But yeah, it's December 1st. One of my favorite traditions in the F&B Rolodex is to change the music from just the standard hi-hat to the jingle bells. And I get asked a lot recently if I'm the one talking on the intro, if I'm the one that says, you are now listening to FNB Radio. And the answer is yes, that's me. That's me. I sometimes talk in a British accent for no reason. And by sometimes, I mean most of the time, especially to my kids, especially at home. Sometimes I wonder, are they going to grow up being like, was she okay? They're never going to wonder, was I British? But they are going to wonder, often like you, the listener, if I'm okay. And I mean, I think it adds a sense of wonder, but maybe it adds a sense of multiple personalities. Who knows? Let's just go with wonder because it's that time of year. It's the holiday season where inevitably people are at the end of their ropes. You know what I mean? They are. But that's not what we're going to focus on today. We're not going to focus on that. I promise. I promise we've focused on that enough. But I'm just saying they are. They are. Because here's what happened. Oh man, I want to do it so bad. I want to go into it. Can I just go into it for a minute? Just for a minute. And then we'll come back. Here's how I know it's like clockwork. There's a couple of things that always happen. One, I always lose a client December 1st. It's as predictable as me overdrawing the account right before Christmas. Because somebody also is like, do I buy that new jet ski for my wife? Or do I keep making my podcast? And somehow the jet ski always wins out. And they're like, you know what? This podcast, who needs it? And then they cut something right at the end of the year, which blows my mind because I'm like, I would imagine you cut something at the beginning of the year. But they really need those crispy big Benjamins right around December 1st. And so I lost a client December 1st. Anyway, it's neither here nor there. It doesn't really matter. It's just funny that that's a holiday tradition for me, is like somehow losing a large amount of money. But here's a new tradition that I hope continues, is that one of my clients gave me a Christmas bonus and 2 Xanax. And I don't know if first of all, that's a great gift. If you're looking for any last minute gifts for people in your life, I can't recommend it enough, because it's like, some people say cash isn't personal. I disagree. I say cash is like the most personal thing you could possibly do, because then they can get what they need. You know what I mean? Anyway, my client gave me this, let's call it a Christmas gift. And I was like, man, client, you are the shit. So for every bad one, there's great ones that like show up with a Christmas bonus and you're like, man, you're the best. But it just makes me laugh because I think they've made no less than like 47 Christmas movies where the entire plot is just that someone gets fired right before Christmas. And somehow like that cautionary tale isn't enough to really speak to the execs, the people that are holding the cards, the people that have all the money. They don't get, they just watch that and their heart, do you think in their heart it's warmed, but then they don't see how they're doing that to someone else? It's just a wild time. It doesn't matter how many Hallmark movies they make about it. It's still going to happen every year. Somebody's getting the axe. So I've already moved on. Clearly. Can't you tell I've moved on? But I do want to talk about Christmas holiday fun because if you're like me and you don't have an uncle that's going to go off and get your boss that let you go right before Christmas, you got to find other ways to have a good time. You know what I mean? And for me, that's eating. It's eating, it's making snacks, that's having parties. That's doing whatever it is that makes you feel good. And this time really is so celebratory. And we had a great Thanksgiving. I know I was all doom and gloom about Thanksgiving, but we got there to Williston, where I'm from, and we stayed in an Airbnb. And we were hosting not a large group, but like a big enough group. I think it was something like 9 or 10 adults and 5 kids. So it's like kind of a big group. You have to like find some tables from somewhere else when you have that many people. So it's big enough that you would call it an event. And we did flowers and we did a bunch of like really fun snacks and like kind of a pre-Thanksgiving party. We did all the things I wanted to do. And I got to hang out with my mom, and she's she's like the keeper of the flame when it comes to Thanksgiving recipes. So I got to kind of work with her and my sister and make all these amazing recipes that I look forward to every year. And despite having watched her make them a million times, I still don't get all the details right. So it's really a good yearly reminder just to be like, okay, I've done this. I remember this. I remember that your recipe's not written correctly. Thank you. But yeah, we had a really fun time. And then we were like kind of putting all the finishing touches on the meal. We're lighting the candles. The turkey's rested and hanging out, all of the finishing touches. The rolls are in the oven, like it's go time. And we're hanging out. And I think I was in the dining room, which we converted my mom's like living room into the dining room. So we had a long table and all the chairs and everything, tablecloths, the whole nine. It was really fancy. And I come back from being in there, like just tweaking the table settings and what you might call polishing your section. If you were an old diehard server in another life, they would be like, Lindsay, is your tables, wow, what's the word? Are they polished? Is your section polished? And I would say no, I'm just kidding. I would say, yeah, I would, my tables were always polished because I that's what I do. I like that kind of stuff. I like those little details. And so I was in there polishing and measing and getting everything set. And then I come in and there's like 4 heads around the turkey. And it's a little bit of a triage situation. We've got my mother-in-law, we've got my younger sister, we've got my mom, and we've got Jeremy. And they're sort of like, I can see they're all in like a little huddle over where the turkey was last time I saw it. So to me, I'm like, okay, the turkey is in question. Jeremy was carving the turkey, but there seemed to be a pause. Like there had been a cut made, but we weren't really sure what was going on. So I'm like kind of come up, like slowly approach the situation as you would when you come up on a car wreck. You don't just run in there guns a-blazing. You got to be like, hey, is everybody okay? Is this thing going to explode? You know, like you got to really survey the scene. And so I'm like sort of tiptoeing up. Nobody's talking, but there's a lot of concern in the faces, specifically my mother-in-law. And her, just this scene, my mother-in-law I love my mother-in-law. She's wonderful. Jeremy's mom is amazing. And she's also, she's the mother-in-law. And I can say this because I have 3 boys. So I know what's coming for me is that I'm second in command, right? Whoever their partner is, it's probably the dice. It's a dice roll, but it's probably not going to be me. Whoever the mother's, like, what am I trying to say? Whoever the wife or the partner in that situation, not to get too gender normy on you, but like in my situation and in my experience, it's the wife's mother who's kind of like the queen grandmother, right? Like they're always like the default grandmother. And then the sons, or wow, why is this so hard? The husband's mother, the mother-in-law, she sort of plays, a secondary role. I like to think of them in the card game like you've got like the ace of spades, but then you've also got like, you got the joker. And then even there, you've got the joker and then you got the big joker. It's like she's a little joker and my mom's the big joker and my mom's hosting Thanksgiving. And so that's already like some little joker shit, right? Like my mom is the one who's like, she's putting on the big show. She got the family at her house for the holiday. So that's a big win. She's roasting the turkey. Jeremy's mom, she's kind of like the little joker. She's showing up. She's chilling. She's bringing the side dishes. She doesn't get a say in like a lot of the stuff. But the look on my mother-in-law's face, it's like, grave. It's a grave look. And my mom's is like kind of like defensive. Let's just say defensive. And Jeremy's is just like, oh shit. And Madeline has her back to me, my little sister, so I can't really see what her face is doing, but she's definitely got her face in there up close. So I'm like, all right. I can tell we're weighing opinions on whether or not the turkey is cooked, which is never a good place to be. You might want to throw in and say like, looks a little dry. That's a little better than saying like, is it done? And especially when the rolls are in the oven and the candles are lit, you know what I mean? So we're like, I roll up and I'm like, what's going on? Nobody says anything, just silence. And again, I see my mother-in-law kind of like, she's kind of squirming a little bit, looking a little upset, a little concerned, but also a little justified. There was something in her face that was just like a little bit satisfied. And I look and she just, all of a sudden, she just blurts out, it ain't done. It ain't cooked. This turkey ain't done. And everyone was just like, I mean, maybe it is. And I like get up close. Everyone starts making their excuses. Everyone starts like saying why it could be done. Everyone starts making a case for why maybe it is done. Even though from as soon as I look at it, I'm like, this turkey is not done. Like this is pink juice. I was like, is this a ham? Like this is the most fucked up turkey I've ever seen. Like it's not done. This turkey there is no way you could have been like, hey, it's a little under. But it's just so funny because the little joker got the last laugh is all I'm saying. Is it was just kind of funny to watch the mother-in-law, who's the guest at the Thanksgiving, who didn't get the satisfaction of hosting Thanksgiving this year. Although I will say last year she did. So we take turns. We do try to make it fair. I'm just saying this is an age-old adage. Mother-in-laws trying to deal with each other. Especially when the daughter-in-law is involved. I'm the daughter-in-law. So I make the call and I was just like, look, we're gonna make this up to the diner. And we put this like squishy, stringy, I want to call it wet. I won't even call it juicy. I want to call it wet pink turkey that got put on a platter. And I wish I think I do have a picture of it. But my mom was just like, so funny about it because she would not say with any certainty that the turkey wasn't done. She just wouldn't say it. She just had to let it linger. And my mother-in-law was so final with her judgment. She was just like, it ain't done. It just ain't. She was like, people could get sick. Honestly, people get salmonella. And whenever you say salmonella at a Thanksgiving thing, because that's what people are already worried about, right? You got people bringing food, you don't know where it was made, or maybe this is just me. I'm like, who made this? I need to know. I don't want to just eat something sight unseen. You know what I mean? I don't want to just like, I guess I can see it, but I don't want to not know what's in it or who made it. I don't like a mystery dish. Even if it looks good, I'm not like, oh, fuck, I'll just tear this up. I always want to know, like, who made this? Where did it come from? How old is it? These kind of questions. I have questions. Even if something is appealing to me, I still want to know because honestly, I want some recourse. And ironically, some people I know did get sick, not at our Thanksgiving. Let me just say that and be perfectly clear. No one at our Thanksgiving got sick. I didn't eat the turkey, but Jeremy did, and he was fine. So either he has a stomach of steel or it was just a little under. In any case, I know someone, I won't name them, but very close to me, who got food poisoning after a Friendsgiving. You know who you are. And I was like, did you tell them? Did you call the people and say like, hey, did anybody else shit and throw up at the same time after they left your house? Or was it just me? And they were like, no, we didn't want to be rude. And I was like, okay, is it rude? I don't want to be rude, but I have an illness of a bacterial infection now in my intestines because of your Friendsgiving. But it's not just for recourse, right? It's not just because I assume that whoever made it didn't wash their hands or didn't cook the food right or didn't handle the food or store the food properly, although that is in my mind. But it's not just that. I also want to know who made the food so I know who to thank, so I know who to credit, so I know who to ask if I want the recipe, if I like it enough to want to know how it was made. I like to know that. I don't want to just go up to a container and be like, all right, I'll have a potato skin. Like that's not okay to me. Number one, I don't know if I'm even allowed to have it. Did they want me to have it? Do they know me? Are they cool with me getting some? I need to know these things before I eat. And so, yeah, it's always just a reminder that it's better to go over than under when you're cooking large format meat. That's an unpopular opinion. Everybody's so worried about making the turkey dry, but here's the thing. The turkey is gonna be fucking dry because it's turkey. It's just not good. I didn't even miss it. I didn't eat the turkey and I was like, my Thanksgiving didn't even have a bump in the road. It was just smooth because I don't care about the turkey. But I did have a turkey that was in my fridge that I used for sandwiches. So, maybe that's just my privilege showing. I had 2 turkeys. So in the end, I did get a turkey that was cooked all the way. But to be fair, I didn't really care about it. But I can tell you, all in all, it was an amazing holiday. And I was so glad that I got my attitude right. Because even though things don't go perfect, they're still perfect. You know what I mean? How many golden brown perfect turkeys? They all run together. But the thing that you don't forget is the just slightly smug look on your mother-in-law's face when the turkey's not done. That's a core memory. That's a thing that you'll laugh about for the remainder, of your that's what makes a Thanksgiving stand out. The ones that go off without a hitch, I would call them forgettable. And this one was definitely memorable, not just because of the turkey, but because of the times we had. We all had a really good time together, and that's what's the most important. So, yeah, I hope yours was good. I hope you had a good one. Sorry, I keep getting these, this is a tangent, but I keep getting these notifications from Facebook on my phone. I don't even use Facebook, but the notifications, the push notifications of somehow I don't know, something got changed in my settings and they've been coming through. And I forgot what a shit show Facebook is, number one. I didn't even sign in, but just from the context clues of the notifications I'm getting, I'm like, wow, Facebook is a wasteland of weirdness. And it's kind of like going to a virtual flea market, literally, where the people there are weird. They're likely selling something weird for a weird price. And they also have a weird opinion about it. But the notification specifically that just came through that I was like, why is that not making sense? And I don't know if you've ever seen this, but have you ever had an older couple in your life, friend or family, who shares a Facebook? You know what I mean? Like it's one of their name, like one of their names. Sorry, I couldn't talk there for a second. It's one of their names, like the guy's name, like let's just call him like Brandon Smith. And then his wife, it's like implied that it's hers too, or it says Brandon and Angela Smith. You know what I mean? And they like coexist in the same Facebook together. What's up with that? Why? What happened in your marriage that it was like, all right, you can have a Facebook, but only if we share it? Like, what happened there? And also the confusion from the comments. That's what specifically just came up just now. Was there was a comment that was like clearly not from Brandon Smith. It was like, I can't give too many of the details away, but it was clearly a woman talking. But then the headline just says Brandon Smith commented, because it can't show the and Angela Smith too. So then they like sign their name if it's them, as though they're the co-creator of their own Facebook. It's just insane. It just makes me remember why I silenced all those notifications and haven't signed on in decades. But somehow, some way, Brandon and Angela got through so I could see that they commented on someone else's Facebook post together. It's just bizarre to me. Why can't you get your own? This isn't like your AOL email address in the 90s. Like it's so easy to just have your own, right? Or if it's a trust issue, like maybe you got bigger problems than whether or not to have your own Facebook. You know what I mean? Because I do know that a lot of people out there, especially in the age group that these people, that's what I mean. Then how do you even know? You're like, oh, there goes Uncle Brandon and Aunt Angela again saying weird shit on Facebook. But you're like, maybe it wasn't Angela this time. Maybe it was Brandon. Like, it's just too confusing. I need to know who's saying what weird shit. Just like I need to know who made the fucking potato skins. I have questions is all I'm saying. And I want recourse. And I think it's insane when couples have Instagrams together. Or it's less common on Instagram, I will say, though I have seen it. I've definitely seen it. And not soon after, you might see them getting a divorce. That's all I'm saying. But the ones that are hanging on, it feels like a scarlet letter. It feels like somebody did something so bad that they can't have their own. Somebody went back into the archives of their high school reunion and did something so inappropriate that now they got to have a Facebook together. So it's like, even if someone's searching, they're like, and don't forget about Brandon. I'm here. Yeah, that's right. It's a weird flex. That's all I'm saying. Like, yeah. I don't want to have to decode or read the signature to make sense of these comments. And also, Meta, don't send me these notifications. My life's hard enough without seeing what Brangela's doing. All right? I love you guys. I really was going to try to be more upbeat, you know? I'm working on it. Because I don't want to worry you. I do want to say in all sincerity, I am good. And I do love you. And I am thankful that you guys hit me up about the show. Good or bad. But I'm good. I'm good. And maybe someday I'll reach the age where me and Jeremy get a gram together. You know? I don't think that'll ever happen because our feeds don't really line up. Like Jeremy's feed is a lot of drunk people falling down and art stuff. And mine is just people working out and food stuff. So there's really no crossover except maybe with the drunk part and the falling. But it's a stretch. So I don't think it would really work for us to have a social media. But listen, I don't want to say never. I never want to say never because I don't know what'll happen once I get upwards of 60. I don't know. I don't know when it happens. I don't know when you have to. I don't know what the rules are. with the social accounts. But I love you, and I hope you have an amazing week. I'm off to LA next week. I'm going to try to get a show in on the road, but I will keep you posted. And I love you. And I can't wait for the holidays. I mean that. I'm actually getting excited. I bought some gifts that I'm really excited about. I think that might be a small hack. Like if you're feeling depressed, just spend money you don't have. That seems to be the salve. I'm just kidding. Buy something for someone else. Maybe that's the salve that we all need. I'll see you next week. Bye. Bye, bye, bye.